Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
Now just go on with our panel discussion. Thanks all of you for staying till the discussion. And my question to all you great, awesome souls here is, we're all on our journey of self-mastery. For so many of them, it is self-discovery. So what, maybe all of you can answer whenever you feel like, what is that one tool or what was that one insight that you received in this journey of self-discovery? I'm sure all of our learnings will be different. What is that one thing that inspired you to make that shift? We will start with Jesu. Please unmute. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you, Mate Jumai, for this beautiful music interlude. It really stirred up the soul and the heart. And all the other speakers, thank you very much for being present on this platform and giving me the honor of being present with you. Well, to answer the question, I think self-discovery is very unlike many other things that we do in our everyday life. It is very unlikely to be planned and to be executed. It is a bolt of lightning that hits you because of any reason. There can be, you can have some illness, you can have a heartbreak, you can have someone loved one who has left you or who has gone on to another realm. You had a loss in your business or whatever. So many of these things become an excuse for you to begin discovering who you are beyond your senses, who you are beyond the conditioning, who you are beyond what the social status that you have become. So for me, it was my illness at the age of 14. I was transported into this amazing inner landscape of absolute clarity and stillness during one of my asthmatic attacks at the age of 14. And that's when I tasted self-discovery beyond, I was initiated into it, even though I had an environment of spirituality through my parents, but I was initiated into that because it left no doubt at all that I am something beyond this body, this conditioning, this social status. So for me, that's what the awakening. And since then, it has always been an onward journey. It has been a continuous journey. So wherever I feel that I have become comfortable with life, life throws one more opportunity, whether it is in terms of a heartbreak or anything. It comes as a life situation. So what I have learned, the tool that I have learned in last 22, 25 years of my inner journey, is that every situation is an opportunity. Every situation, especially when your heart breaks, when you feel pain, when you feel you are hurt, when you feel you have been betrayed. In such situations, we have a choice. We can use it as an opportunity to find out, who am I beyond this? And where is my destiny leading me? Or we can always get entangled in the situation itself, oftentimes leading to nowhere more than frustration and more pain and suffering. So that's the tool I have discovered.
Thank you. Thank you. They say that there is a Kenshu and a Satori movement in life.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That tight slap on your face is when you wake up and start discovering yourself. Thank you so much, Jeshu. That was insightful.
May I correct my pronunciation? It is Gesu. Udumbara Gesu.
Okay. Apologies. Gesu.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you.
Dr. Sahi, your take on it, your journey, and what is the tool that inspired you, and what is that you have learned?
Honestly, I was so bored with life in general. Honestly, I'm not joking. Throughout my life, I've been completely and utterly bored with what existed in the so-called 3D. And it was just a thing of like, well, what's really real? What's the truth? What's the truth? And being brought up on this whole thing of this is illusion, this is Maya. So then what is reality? What is reality? What is reality? And that's the only thing. I mean, I don't think I've done anything terribly radical. I think I've been terribly inspired by anything else. It's just been a flow. You just follow whatever you want to do, whatever you feel like it, and you just follow it. And one thing though I do want to say is I think I've been incredibly, I don't think it's blessings. I think it was probably some choice made at some level in time and space that I have these incredible parents that didn't stop me from doing anything that I wanted to do or didn't want to do. So in that way, I think I've been completely supported on whatever my journey is. But the thing that has pushed me is probably boredom, if you want to know the truth.
That's a very honest answer. Thank you. And you chose to do something awesome out of the boredom. Again, it's a choice.
Exactly. It was just like, okay, how am I going to make my life interesting?
It's also a very accurate account because most people come to discovery because of the boredom of the present life. So this is true for so many people.
Yeah.
Tejo, you had a question. You can ask them now.
Well, yeah, it was so interesting to listen to you. I was sometimes on the other track as well. Yes, I have a question for Gesu, I guess, for both of you, about enlightenment, really, because I heard you, Gesu, where you were saying something that I quite agree on about, the natural enlightenment, yes, of the, just the simple fact that we are women, and the woman, this perception, which is how we say in English, innate in French. What's
innate.
The word? Innate, totally innate in woman and mothership, the mothership as well. And even if we don't have children, I believe also, because I've seen that in women in general. Mm-hmm. So, but I still see that from that perception, from that point of perception and from that point of natural intuition, there is more. Because actually, when we say enlightenment, do we just confine it to something that we think that's enlightenment is like that? Or is it more something like as that is never ending? It's eternal. It means that it never stops. It means that it's always expanding in the multi-dimensionality of what it could be. It never ends. So what's your take on that? About enlightenment beyond enlightenment. I don't know how we can call it, but yeah.
The beauty about the universal absoluteness is that it is eternal. So there is no beginning, there is no end to it. But we are here, and we are here in this body. We are here in this being. So what I love about the universe, or what I love about the existence, is that at any level, you find it nuclear, you find it ever expanding. But at the same time, paradoxically enough, it has invested into structures. So the body is a structure. It's a precise structure with its own chemical, biochemical, mechanical devices, which keeps the structure here to contain this nuclear enlightenment, this ever expanding enlightenment that has no end. So when I talk about the absolute inner clarity, right at your navel, especially for women, both for women and men, but when I talk about it, what I mean is that how do you perceive this ever expanding enlightenment as it is always expanding and always outdoing itself? And how do you apply it to your structure here? Because you are structured here. This is a structure, this body, this mind, this cognition, even the perceptive abilities, our senses are a structure. And the universe is so paradoxical because it loves this limitlessness, and yet it creates a structure within the limitlessness. So I think we all have to wake up to this ecstasy, to this joy of being able to enjoy both these things. And women somehow come with this innately, and at this point of time, it is not as adulterated, as gone away, as forgotten, and it can be reactivated with almost very less effort, because the future is feminine. Future is feminine. So if the future is feminine, we're already walking that path. It of course doesn't mean that we are excluding the sacred masculine or men. It simply means that we are embracing the totality.
Yes,
I
and
hope that answers.
yes, I understand your vision. Thank you. It's beautiful, and we can help also, like, because we see men and women. And do you think that because I believe there are more than two genders, like masculine and feminine, I believe there are more
Absolutely.
genders than that. And also we've seen that feminine and masculine is also not really related, or not necessarily related to gender, actually.
Absolutely.
If you see what I'm saying. But if
Yes.
if we envision it in the spiritual side of it, like, the Ida and Pingala, and if we join those two, currents, and we have like the unity, the real yoga, what we call yoga or shushumna, like the unity, the union,
Yes.
sacred union. Yes. And so this clarity in women, how would you bring it to apply it to men?
Well, the inner clarity has no gender, thankfully. And it
Yes.
has no duality.
Yes.
So there is no question of it being applied differently for women or men. It is just about awakening it and living with it. And I have been a seeker. I have been a seeker since since the age of 9, but say more awakened and more, I would say more mindful seeker, knowing that I was seeking from the age of 14. I have grown up with some really intense masters. So the one thing that I learned in my journey, which I feel is very important to be shared, is that spirituality, the world, the universe, and spirit is a quantum field. And this quantum field, whatever we speak about it, it's very important, but it's very out there. When you come here, when you are here, when you are in the body, when you are here in the, whether you like it or not, but in the world, and whether you like it or not in your particular society with all its judgments and all its ideas and ideologies, the one thing that helps you is to understand how this unified field, which we know exists, can be of use to you in particular, so that your impact on your own life and your social fabric and the planet and the existence is more clear, is more benevolent, is more joyous. And for that, this is not a distinction between man and woman. This is just a segmentation to, at the moment, help this cognition to digest the vastness of the spirit. Because the spirit is extremely vast, there is no containing it. But we have been given this cognition for a reason. It's not useless. It has its place. And when we use it in unity, when we use the gut and the heart and the mind in unity, and we give the cognition of the heart and the cognition capability of the head, when we give it its place, when we give it its juice, we have a more complete physical existence. So the segmentation is not out of judgment. The segmentation is not out of wanting to identify genders. No, because there are no genders in the unified field. There is no segmentation. There is no duality. But then we are not there yet. We are here. And I am a huge believer of being pragmatic.
Yes, yes, I think we imbibe that from your own essence, and the way you convey it is very clear, actually, perfectly clear. Thank you very much. And I have a question for Carol Talbot, I think.
Carol, are you there?
I am, yes.
Could you turn on the video, please? Thank you so much. Yes.
Yes. Namaste, Carol. Thank you for your beautiful sharing. I was very interested in your approach to how to go in the alpha state. As being a musician, singer, and I use also this, sound healing, the frequencies with all these, tuning forks and frequencies. So we usually use subtraction to obtain, a certain type of frequency in terms of alpha. For example, if we would want to have, we just have to subtract, and then we obtain the range of frequency we want to have. And the exercise you were showing today, the technique you were showing today, about just raising the eyes and pointing is very, it's actually one of the technique we use in the yoga when we practice maybe Shambhavi Kriya or some, just focusing on the third eye, that's eyes closed. So can you emphasize more on that? We're interested in, I think, to see how we can get in this alpha state from different perspectives, not only with sound, but also with this. Do you have other, something else you want to share about how to get there?
Look, the reason I shared that tool and technique is, particularly at this time, so many people have got busy mind syndrome, and we hear this all the time, and it's such a quick way. And we're in peripheral vision the majority of the time anyway, because you can't be driving a car and navigating a roundabout in beta, else you only see the bumper of the car in front of you. To navigate a roundabout, you have to have expanded awareness. So it's really, I shared that to make people more aware of this is what it feels like when you're in that expanded state, and how quickly it can stop the self-chatter. And you're right, there's many, many other ways. Music, I love music, and I saw you also have the Koshi bells, which I adore, and I have those as well. So do I use sound? Totally. And binaural music is really great, where you've got one frequency in one ear, another in the other, and of course your mind finds the middle path. And so that's such a beautiful way to drop you into theta and deeper states. And it's not always practical to sort of get out the bells and whistles or put on the headphones. Another way, very, very simple to, and I advocate a lot of, is breath work. And again, from yoga, with pranayama, through holotropic breath work as well. In fact, I was just doing a shamanic Siberian breath technique with a group the other evening, and gosh, it took them into such beautiful states, and not only beautiful states, it helps us remember that we're energy. All we are is energy vibrating at a specific frequency, which makes everything and us appear solid. And so when people actually have that visceral experience of energy, again, this starts to create shifts inside. And people sometimes get the shivers from music, or you have such a beautiful tonality with your voice. I also heard you were overtoning a lot there. So again, to me, one of the most beautiful instruments we have is our own voice, and learning to utilize it. I had a wonderful session just yesterday, I think it was, a voice analysis. I did voice work many years ago, but I just thought, that'll be interesting to do a voice analysis, because it also highlights what's missing, what notes you are not using when we have it all available to us. So yes, music, breath work, changing your focus, many, many ways to access different states. And that's part of the curiosity and the exploration of discovering more of who we are, of who we truly are, and less of who we're not.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And yes, thanks. It's beautiful. It's important for the people to be aware of all those tools, because that's how we're getting into evolving into, let's say, higher selves. And Dr.
Question
Sangeeta,
for Dr. Yugandhar.
Dr.
About,
Sangeeta, I have a question for.
yes.
May
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm taking the whole space today. Dr. Sangeeta, I heard you mentioned about you're documenting a lot, and how can you help into documenting specifically the indigenous wisdom?
Okay, so what do you mean? Like, how can we help the tribes or the communities, or what?
Yeah. How do you do it? Because you were mentioning you were documenting a lot. Have you
We
done
just
some?
actually, it's very simple. I go directly with the NGOs. With a lot of the communities have NGOs, or there are NGOs working with the communities, and we go directly with the NGOs and we just assist them. And I am very, very lucky because I'm a medical doctor. I can get in anywhere because I will, wherever I go, I will use my medical skills, and they all need those skills. So it's very easy, actually. So I go in, they tell their stories, and we record their stories. Basically, it's actually very simple. It's not complicated. It's just you live with them. You become like within their community. You go in there. You don't have this sort of. I don't think I've ever had it, really, honestly. This thing of imposing a model on anybody or a structure on anybody, which is why I found mainstream allopathic medicine quite incomplete, because it was a model, it's a structure that's imposed, which doesn't take into account natural structures of human behavior and human beingness. So you just go into that structure and you flow with it. You observe it. You say, okay, this is how they are. This is how they live. And as you become like more in tune with them, they automatically become more in tune with you anyway. It's a kind of biofeedback. It's just happens. And then they tell you their stories. They just trust you. They tell you their stories. They share. Actually, they share. And I'll tell you, for me, the real sharing is when you eat with them. That is the most important, because that's when they really get together and socialize. Like in all communities, you eat together, you socialize, and you live together. So it's really simple. And people want to share what they're doing. It's natural for them. It's not something that you have to teach them to do. It's just really natural. You have to teach people in London how to share. You have to teach people in the US how to share. You don't have to teach people in communities, rural communities, how to share, really.
We have two doctors on the group here, and so a question to both. Thank you, Ma. You be here. You can stay here. It's just that for both the doctors in this journey of self-exploration. So there is your traditional theory that tells you how to heal, and then there is this metaphysics that comes into picture. There's epigenetics. There's so many new things that is coming out. So for both you doctors, what is your take on how to heal the body and the mind? And that's the process that we are going through. It's a part of self-discovery. So what have you got to tell the world that look, things have
over
changed?
to Dr. Sangeeta, please.
We'll start with Dr. Sangeeta. Ma'am, you have to unmute.
Okay. Can you just say it again? I'm sorry. What was
So
the question?
my question was, doctors have their traditional baggage, we would say, or the knowledge, we call them. But then as you go into this journey of self-exploration and self-mastery, there are new concepts that comes, like the metaphysics and then the diet. Then we have concepts like epigenetics. So what is your
Samyukta, I'll tell you honestly, Samyukta, my great-grandfather, he was a homeopathic doctor in pre-partition India. And he wrote 12 volumes of books on homeopathy. I mean, he was something, I'm sure. I never met him. So I think actually being a real doctor is being everything. It's being a priest. It's being an educator. It's being a friend. It's being a counselor. It's being a therapist. It's being all of it, because it's, I mean, when you, the meaning of Ayurveda, I love Ayurveda, by the way, because it's so vast and so comprehensive. And the meaning of Ayurveda is the knowledge of life, you know? So medicine in real terms was life itself, because it affected every part of life. So how do you heal? You heal actually just, again, you know, doctors today, I think, have to serve multiple roles. They really do. And they are doing it. I studied epigenetics. I studied nutrigenomics. I studied psychoneuroendocrinoimmunology, just to be able to get the scientific verification of the pathways. So I think there's more and more emphasis for doctors to take their own journeys of self-exploration.
Yes, awesome. Very well said. Thank you so much. There's more to a doctor. It's more. Thank you so much for specifying. Over to you, sir. Your take on this?
Yeah. So I love to cut people. I'm very passionate. There are two things I love most in my life. One is spirituality, other is surgery. Though I don't need to talk about surgery here, there is no need, but there is something to talk because of your combination with spirituality. Every time I hold my knife, I become extremely centered. Every time I cut the tissues, I become very, very, very centered. Lack of sleep doesn't affect. This is typically seen and what is called a surgical temperament. So that is the reason why I have not quit surgeries. Even during World Parliaments also, I'm going to hospital, I'm cutting people. So there is no difference for me between surgery and spirituality. There is no difference at all. In fact, forget about surgery. Any profession, a person who makes tea every day, you know how skillfully he pours tea? In India, you can see. Very beautiful, very skillful. A barber who cuts hair. Any profession makes one get internalized. In fact, that is the way. What you do most regularly is also the greatest way, the easiest way to go within. Easiest way, greatest way. Because he's already into it. Leaving that, you don't have to find anywhere else. Speakers, by way of speaking, they become more internalized, they become more spiritual. Students, by way of just listening, they become spiritual. Not what is heard, but the way it is being heard. So, whatever profession that you are in, if there is a passion to it, the very passion can make one very much internalized, very much spiritual. That is the real inner journey. All the traits and temperaments that we acquire, that we nurture, that we cultivate during our professions, or the gateways or the doorways to go within. Always. People call me serious, some people. This is a surgical temperament. The very seriousness maybe is very helpful for me to get more centered, to get more internalized. I can't be without that. It doesn't mean that I don't smile, right? But the very seriousness, that is intensity inside, that makes me more. At the same time, the profession, in our profession, we're also mischievous. We laugh a lot in our operation theaters. You know, everything is funny. Nothing is really serious. The act of surgery may be serious, but the environment is not really that much serious. We laugh a lot. So we are also mischievous. So mischief is also very much necessary. If you lose the mischief of life, you're losing yourself. Never lose the childlike mischievousness in your life. Never. We are losing a lot of things. So we have to be mischievous. We have to be serious. And the very traits and temperaments need to transform us, because they're the real gateways. This is how I see. Because you are asking me a combination of practice of profession and spirituality. I think this is a better way of presenting from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ma, you have a question. And yeah, that will be the last question. We have to wind the panel.
Okay. What is my question now? Yeah, to Dr. Yugandhar G. How would you explain the fact that science is measuring all acts, right? Actions, and proving, yeah, but with limited tools, Don't you think that if all the scientists and the doctors, I mean, the ones who are recognized by the great authority, we're using more like the inner introspection and meditation and, you know, all the beautiful tools we have to rise, don't you think that we should have a way somehow to implement and to recognize those perceptions and implement them in the science? But the reason why I ask the questions is because I think that the tools we use are limited to the dimension and the perception that we're in. So how can we explain things in a much broader way?
The outer world, for me, lives in a linear reality. Linear reality means everything is based on measurements, assessments, and all. Time is linear here, the past, present, and the future. Everything goes by order and systematicity in the outer world. Everything has to be proven. Everything has to be substantiated. When it comes to inner world, which is the even more greater science, these linear approaches cannot apply there. Impossible. Because the world inside is absolutely non-linear. All the scientists, with their greatest scientific temper, with due respect to all the scientists, I would like to say that observation itself is a big science. The science of observation. We may draw some conclusions through these observations. We make some inferences through these observations, but they are not final. They are final to that particular time zone. It will evolve. The Newtonian physics turned into Einstein physics. The Einstein physics turned into the quantum physics. Is evolving, right? Maybe the quantum physics will also be transformed into something else. It's an ongoing process. So the tools and techniques and methods of substantiation are very much limited to calculate the unlimited and infinite energy and source within. The outer reality is very much limited compared to the unlimited world that is existing within. The societal world is not matching the spiritual world. The social reality is not matching the spiritual reality. The linear reality is not matching the non-linear reality within. It takes time. Maybe in other dimensions, maybe in other planets, they have become one, but not on this earth plane.
How to bring it
Can
here?
I add something here, Matejumai?
Sorry?
Can I add something here?
Yeah,
Yes, please.
absolutely. Yes, please.
I mean, it's developing. There is equipment. We've got obviously the Hadron Oscillator in CERN, which is able to measure and quantify speeds of light. And now they've made or in the process of making equipment which can go beyond the speed of light to measure particles that are going beyond the speed of light. Plus, I mean, I don't think it's all linear. I think it is going. It's just that people are not really hearing or relating to it in mainstream. But I know natural history, social sciences, geography, etc. We're looking at the world. There's a butterfly. I'll give you an example. There's a butterfly called the painted lady, species of butterfly. It has 100 lenses through which it experiences its external environment. It does not see, it actually feels and tastes through 100 lenses. So it doesn't see, it hears as well. So imagine we've got 2 lenses. So imagine what that butterfly must be experiencing in its multidimensional existence in this 3D realm. And I think a lot of technology is being developed observing the natural world, which is why, to me, again, we come back to the planet. It's so interesting and important because we learn from it. And we develop, we reproduce, we copy, we experiment. This is a planet of experimentation. We've been given this wonderful place to come and evolve and experiment and develop, etc. And there's a lot there that we're not aware of, that we are becoming more and more aware of.
Yes, and thank you. Yeah, it's important that you say that. And as we have Dr. Nirmal here, may I ask him, because I know that Dr. Nirmal, you also have conducted some experimentation in the hospital surroundings, yes, with Kriya Yoga, I believe. Can you explain a little bit? And I think that's a good way to make the bridge into what I was trying to ask, into how to take in account the spiritual, the divine experience, which is also, as I believe, a science. How can we merge it into the
Okay. Namaste to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the first time I'm interacting for this World Parliament. I had been a serious research scientist for past 7 years doing research in various sound frequencies, and I got my PhD also. We did one of the largest ever research for which the paper is already presented and published also in one of the international journal for Kriya Yoga. So my new research is into genetics. So these three areas I have combined now. For last 2 years, I'm working on these three things together. One is Kriya Yoga, which is the mission of Mahavatar Babaji I had been doing. And sound healing, frequencies is what I had been working for past 7 years. And last 2 years, I was working on nutrigenomics, got 150 genetic reports and how these things are getting intermingled. And I'm associated with Jupiter Hospital at Thane, where clinical research is going on. You know, right? For the patients, we are using sound healing. Like I did one very special experiment, which is approved now. All the doctors are now recommending in hospital level, at a clinical level, 174 hertz. 174 hertz is the first frequency which actually removes the pain. So we did a very serious experiment with the patients. Dr. Yugandhar is here. After the operation, there is a lot of pain. So there is a scale of pain, 5 levels, 7 levels, whatever you can have. And one method is through the injections, medicines and all, you remove the pain. Another is we give the sound injection. You see, I got my PhD because I developed a therapy which is patented now worldwide. It's called elemental vibrational therapy. So I developed a method, very simple method of how do we give a vibrational injection. That's my research. So I started giving, instead of medicinal injection, I started giving sound injection, frequency injection. So I, as an engineer, because my background is engineering and science, so I devised some special instruments by which I can give a very precision injection of 174 hertz sound wave. And we saw that now most of the patients, actual patients in the hospital, are preferring my sound injection instead of the doctor's medicinal injection, because it is reducing the pain very fast, and ample data on that. So it is no more a guesswork now. It is a proven science that 174 hertz sound injection is actually reducing the pain of the people. Doctors have approved it. Now doctors are prescribing. Okay, so sound does a wonderful job. Meditation does a wonderful job. And now there are so many ways to understand that our being, our consciousness is actually influencing at the material level. Our intention is influencing at the material level. So the science and spirituality is now intermingling in the clinical conditions. That's my take on what I'd been listening to you for a few minutes, 20 minutes or so, and I found your discussions very interesting. Okay, my past 7 years, I had been full time, neck deep into it.
Thank you, Dr. Premji.
Thank you very much.
Valuable insights. So we will be just concluding right now. One message that you want to give everybody, which includes science and spirituality, Dr. Sangeeta. One message for everyone.
Okay, science and spirituality. Honestly, it's very simple. Just be curious and just, explore the world, explore life, explore consciousness, because it's all here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Jesu, one message, please, from your end to conclude our entire discussion. We had a lovely session today.
Yes, one message would be shatter your illusions on purpose. Have fun shattering your illusions. Have the mischief to shatter your illusions every day, every moment, and just watch what it opens up as soon as you shatter them.
Thank you. Lovely. Dr. Yugandhar, your take, please.
Yeah, for me, both are not different. They're only different words, but one and the same. Like, we use wings and claws together. We don't use wings and claws separately, right? So arts and sciences need to be together. Wings and claws need to be together. Science and spirituality need to be together.
Thank you so much. On behalf of World United and the entire team, I thank all of you great speakers for coming in, sharing, giving such valuable insights. you've created so much more consciousness on planet Earth today. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you, Ma Tejo, for your lovely music. Thank you, Jeshu. Thank you, Dr. Sangeeta, Dr. Yugandhar, and also Dr. Premji. Thank you so much.
And